What if I told you that $1,000 a month could completely change the way you experience life? Not in theory, not in a motivational quote, but in real life. For millions of people around the world, $1,000 is not freedom. It is pressure. It is stress. It is a number that disappears before the month even begins. Rent, utilities, transport, food. By the time the basics are covered, there is nothing left. No space to breathe. No space to think, no space to plan. But South Africa tells a different story. Not a perfect story, not a fantasy, but a different one. When people hear the words South Africa, their minds usually jump to extremes. They imagine luxury, ocean views, modern cities, beautiful landscapes. Or they imagine danger, crime, poverty, uncertainty. What almost nobody talks about is the reality in between, the quiet middle, the everyday life that millions of people live without cameras, headlines, or viral clips. That is the life we are talking about today. Not the version you see on social media, not the version shown in documentaries designed for shock, not the version reduced to statistics, but real life, ordinary life, life as it is actually lived. So let's ask the question honestly. What does $1,000 a month really give you in South Africa? To answer that, we need to remove emotion, we need to remove exaggeration, and we need to break life down into its most basic pieces. A place to live, food to eat, ways to move, time to rest, and space to think. Everything else grows from there. Let's begin with housing. Housing is the foundation of stability. When housing is unstable, nothing else feels secure. Your mind stays busy, your stress stays high, your future feels uncertain. In South Africa, housing varies widely depending on the city, the neighborhood, and the choices you make. Cities like Cape Town, Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Durban all offer different experiences, but one thing is consistent across them. $1,000 a month will not buy luxury. You will not live in a penthouse, you will not wake up to ocean views, you will not live the life that looks impressive on Instagram. But you can live well, you can live clean, you can live comfortably, you can live in a space that allows you to function without constant anxiety. Many people choose middle-income neighborhoods, others live in townhouses or apartment complexes. Some share homes with roommates, others live slightly outside city centers where rent is lower and space is larger. These choices are not signs of failure, they are signs of awareness. In South Africa, people who live well are often not the ones who earn the most. They are the ones who understand balance. Balance between location and cost, balance between comfort and budget, balance between image and reality. Compared to major cities in the United States or the United Kingdom, housing in South Africa can feel surprisingly manageable. Not cheap, but manageable, especially if you avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is one of the biggest financial traps. As income increases, spending increases even faster. What once felt like comfort quickly becomes necessity. In South Africa, people who resist lifestyle inflation often experience a sense of freedom that money alone cannot buy. Housing becomes a base, not a burden, a place to rest, not a source of fear. And when housing is stable, life begins to slow down. Now let's talk about food. Food is where daily life truly reveals itself. In many countries, food has become a source of constant stress. Prices rise unpredictably, quality drops, portions shrink, eating well becomes expensive. In South Africa, food tells a different story. Fresh fruits and vegetables are widely available, local markets are common, supermarkets carry a broad range of options. For most people, cooking at home is normal. It is not viewed as deprivation, it is simply how life works. Meals are planned, ingredients are shared, food is prepared with intention. Eating out occasionally does not destroy the budget. Local cafes, casual restaurants, and street food are accessible to many people. Food here is not just about survival. Food here is about routine. It is about rhythm. It is about normal life continuing without constant pressure. When you aren't worried about your next meal, your mind begins to relax. And when your mind relaxes, your decisions improve. This is one of the most underestimated aspects of life in South Africa. Now let's talk about movement, how people get from one place to another. Transportation in South Africa is not perfect, it is not seamless, it requires awareness. Public transit exists, but it's limited in many areas. Because of this, people rely on a mix of options: minibus taxis, ride-hailing services, private cars, and walking. For someone living on $1,000 a month, transportation must be intentional. Distances matter, timing matters, location choices matter. People who live close to work or close to essential services save more than just money. They save energy, they save time, they save mental space. And mental space is valuable. Fuel costs fluctuate, maintenance is real, but planning makes the difference between stress and stability. In South Africa, financial comfort is rarely about income alone. It is about structure. Those who create structure often live better than those who earn more but live chaotically. Now let's talk about something people rarely connect to money: time. In many parts of the world, time feels stolen. Commutes are long, workdays stretch, exhaustion becomes normal. In South Africa, time feels different for many people. Not because life is easy, but because the pace is human. People still talk, they still sit, they still gather. Weekends are not always about spending money, they are about presence. Braais in backyards, walks in neighborhoods, time with family, time with friends. This kind of life does not show up on financial spreadsheets, but it shows up in mental health, and mental health shapes everything. Now let's address the realities, because ignoring them would be dishonest. South Africa has challenges. Electricity interruptions affect daily routines. Load shedding requires adaptation. People plan their days differently. They adjust. They prepare. Safety awareness is necessary. People learn patterns. They learn boundaries. They learn responsibility. Income inequality is visible. You can't ignore it. You shouldn't ignore it. But visibility does not mean inevitability. South Africa does not reward denial. It rewards awareness. People who live well here are not blind to reality. They are conscious of it. They choose neighborhoods carefully. They choose routines carefully. They choose relationships carefully. They do not live in fear, but they do not live in fantasy either. This balance is what allows stability. So what does $1,000 a month really buy? It does not buy luxury, it does not buy excess, it does not buy escape from responsibility, but it buys something deeper. It buys control. Control over daily decisions, control over spending, control over time, control over stress. For many people, that level of control is more valuable than wealth. South Africa often appears confusing to outsiders because it cannot be reduced to single story. It is not just beauty, it is not just struggle, it is complexity, and complexity requires maturity. This country does not work for everyone, it never will, and it doesn't need to. But for those who understand it, who respect its realities, and who live intentionally, it offers a life that feels grounded, a life that feels human, a life where $1,000 a month does not feel like survival, but like structure, like balance, like breathing room. This is not a dream, it is not a fantasy, it is not a promise. It is simply one version of real life, and real life, when lived wisely, can be enough. This is South Africa. Not the version sold online, not the version reduced to fear, not the version exaggerated for clicks, just a place, with challenges, with opportunities, with ordinary people building ordinary lives, one careful decision at a time.